Hi, I'm Pace Webb, chef and lifestyle expert in Los Angeles, California, and I'm going to teach you how to cook bacon. Click the link in the description to download the recipe so you can follow along with all the steps. Now, let's talk first about what bacon actually is and where it comes from. Well, it's the belly part of the pig. That's right. So don't worry, we're not going to make bacon from scratch today, but I do want to at least tell you how it's made. So you take basically the belly part of the bacon and the skin comes off, and then it gets this wonderful dry cure that's a minimum of 7 days. And a lot of these techniques of curing and preserving just came from a need when we didn't have refrigerators and we needed to preserve food for longer periods of time. So this method is still tried and true today, but in a lot of more commercial production, it's more of a wet brine that's sort of like cheating, and it does it a little bit faster. But the old traditional way is a dry brine of like salt and sugar and probably some kind of delicious spices and maybe even some herbs. And you just pack it all on that slab of pork belly. And then you basically keep it in refrigeration for 7 days, and you can turn it because it starts to seep a lot of water day after day on one side, and you want to keep turning it every day, but it's tightly wrapped in plastic, and it can be just so flavorful and so great. But yes, it is a labor of love. It is labor intensive. So that's why we're just going to cook some regular old store-bought bacon. The equipment you're going to need is a set of tongs. And you don't necessarily need the saute pan, but I kind of want to do a comparison for you. So we'll just put it over there. It's totally optional. And a drip rack, sheet tray, some paper towels. I'll show you where these come in handy. And that's pretty much it. The whole point of this is that we're going to put the bacon in the oven so it doesn't splatter and go everywhere, and it cooks nice and evenly all the way around. Plus, you can be doing other things. You don't have to be like manning the bacon, worrying about if it's burning. But anyway, we'll do that method as well while this one's cooking, so we can just compare the end results, and you can decide for yourself what you like. All right, so the oven is preheated at 400 degrees, and let's go ahead and start preparing the super simple oven style bacon. Now this is kind of a nifty little trick here, because what seems to happen is there's so much fat that drips down off the rack that it starts to smoke, and that's what causes your smoke alarm to go off. You think something's burning, but really nothing is burning. That's a trouble source. It's just really the fact that the fat is it's just cooking in itself. Has nothing to adhere to cook with. So we're going to add a little bit of paper towel to help absorb the fat. Okay. Wonderful. And then there are so many different philosophies on rack, no rack. I like the rack because it also drains all the grease off of it. So you're just really getting this clean crispiness. You don't have to then sort of drain it again afterwards, because you know how you put your bacon maybe on a towel afterwards so it soaks up some of the excess grease. So this is kind of a way that does it anyway. And I like the way that it's, you're really getting 360 cook all around because it's raised a little bit, so your piece of bacon is getting that heat from all ways. But other ways you could do it is you could just put it straight into the pan here like this. Quite a bit of cleanup. You could also do a piece of parchment paper. That works really well, and bacon does also become crispy and is really tasty as it just sits in its own fat to cook. So we'll do this method today. And this is what we do over at Daddy's Chicken Shack, my little fried chicken shop in Old Town, Pasadena. You've got bacon on a couple of items, a couple of breakfast items, and this is how we make it over there. So I'm just arranging it here, not like slam jam next to each other. But I think this is just great for, those mornings when maybe you got pancakes going, maybe you got some eggs going, and it's just one more thing. You don't have to kind of like put it in there and forget about it almost. You don't need to babysit it on the stove, especially if you have other breakfast items going. There never seems to be enough space for the bacon. Thought for sure this was going to be good. Okay. All right. Oven's at 400 degrees. Let's go ahead and pop the bacon in. So you'll notice how I'm starting with a cold pan, and that's just the way bacon likes to do it, okay? It's all that lovely fat, and then we're gonna turn it on, and it's gonna heat up nice and evenly all together, because I hate how you see like the center parts of the bacon are like more cooked than the other ones, so we're not looking to shock the bacon. I gotta be real nice and gentle here, and we're just gonna put it in the pan, and then turn it on all at once. Okay, awesome. All right, so bacon's in the pan. Let's go ahead and heat it up and put it on medium heat. Here, I'll go over here so maybe you guys can see a little bit better. All right, so it's starting to crinkle up, but what you see are these little bumps right here, right? Well, that's not really hitting the surface. And that's sort of one of the challenges of getting the bacon to cook just evenly. So it's not quite ready, not quite enough space to move in some new bacon pieces. In fact, I'll switch this one around. There's a little more room over here. But definitely things are starting to progress and happen, like I'm sure you've seen many times before. Yeah, when bacon starts to go, it really starts to go. So case in point, I'm still like hovered over the pan, kind of fussing with it. It's splattering everywhere. It's not quite giving me that nice even cook that I was, you know, you're always wanting from bacon. Give that one just a touch more time. And we're still not even done. And then what happens is I start snacking on these, and I sit down, and it's like, no one has enough bacon. Now, in bacon's defense, I will say you've got those little splatter guards that are really great, but it's just sort of gadgety and one more thing to clean. So hopefully you'll love the oven-cooked bacon, and you won't have to fuss with this style anymore. All right, and here's those last little bits, those big boys here. Now, when you look at all this bacon fat, don't throw this away, okay? Very, very tasty. I'm from Texas, and my dad actually is like the breakfast man, okay? Whenever I'm home, he makes breakfast. As a kid on the weekends, he would always make breakfast. It's a very dad thing to do, right? And he makes his scrambled eggs dirty, okay? They're called dirty eggs. So he cooks the bacon just like I just did in the pan with a lot of love and maybe some hops. And he's like, oh, ow, oh, oh. You hear Dad in the kitchen doing his whole song and dance. And then he pours off some of the bacon grease after the bacon's done cooking and then puts the scrambled eggs in there. And it's just like the explosion of taste with the little bits of burnt bacon into the scrambled eggs. It is truly, truly phenomenal. It's so good. So bacon fat in the South, especially in the 50s, was used, and even before that, was always in a container sort of on the stovetop, used to cook things with. I would say, you know, for food safety reasons, maybe you put it in the freezer or the refrigerator, but it just adds this extra flavor to like roasting chicken, scrambled eggs, even vegetables. It gives this really lovely smoky flavor to it. It's just that little extra like, woo, what's that? So really, really good. And I love to not waste food too. You know, like how can we take a byproduct of food that we would normally throw away and make food even more delicious with it? Oh yeah. It's been like 20 minutes at 400 degrees. And that just looks beautiful to me. Look at that color. It's almost like stained glass. See how it's really, gravity's pulled it to lay quite flat. Looks really, really nice. All right, so let's take it off of here and just see how we do. I can already see there's a difference in shape, right? Because these are more scrunched up from the heat, and these have really been stretched out a little bit. Oh, this is so great. And so it's really a matter of how you like your bacon too. Like this is the way I like my bacon, where it's all flat and I get maximum crunch, and even the fat parts are gonna be really nice and like brittle crunchy, which I just really, really love. But there's a lot of people who like, here, let me show you, these little kind of part of the pockets, like this one right here, you can see, is still gonna be chewy, even though it looks dark. So some people really like that break in the crunch and get a little chewiness, and I'm just kind of crispy all the way around. And again, it's just a really low touch way to make bacon. So I'm still all about oven cooked bacon for the less mess factor and more enjoyment and more time to do other things, because that's just what I do in life. So okay, come on in here and let's just take a quick look at a comparison. And now you know how to master oven cooked bacon. So check it out, try it for yourself. Oh, baby, 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 look at that. And then this, you're still gonna love it. It's still totally delicious. It's just a lot more work and it comes out a little different. So now you have some options. If you enjoyed this tutorial, like the video and subscribe to my channel. Leave comments or questions. I'd love to hear from you and help you troubleshoot anything that you need help with, or hear about all the great things you're accomplishing. Check out some of my other episodes and tutorials right here if you want to learn how to cook. For the complete list of courses, go ahead and visit www.tasteofpace.com.